Wisdom, the final frontier to true knowledge. Welcome to Wisdom Trek, where our mission is to create a legacy of wisdom, to seek out discernment and insights, to boldly grow where few have chosen to grow before. Hello, my friend. I am Guthrie Chamberlain, your captain on our journey to increase wisdom and create a living legacy. Thank you for joining us today as we explore wisdom on our second millennium of podcast. This is day 1254 of our trek and time for Meditation Monday. Taking time to relax, refocus, and reprioritize our lives is crucial in order to create a living legacy. For you, it may be just a time alone for quiet reflection. You may utilize some sort of structured meditation practices. In my life, meditation includes reading and reflecting on God's Word and in prayer. It is a time to renew my mind, refocus on what is most important, and making sure that I am nurturing my soul, mind, and body. As you come along with me on our trek each Meditation Monday, it is my hope and prayer that you too will experience a time of reflection and renewing of your mind. Last week, we took a look into the Apostle Peter's roller coaster life that fluctuated between undying loyalty and complete denial in its commitment as a disciple of Jesus. If you missed last Monday's episode, day 1249, you will want to listen to it first and then return to the second of 3 episodes in Peter's saga. We will look at part 2 of our story today, and next Monday, we will complete our story. In our meditation today, let us consider God's Amazing Grace, Part 2. When we left Peter last week, the sun was just beginning to break over the horizon after a night of fishing where Peter had caught not a single fish. His mind was fixed on how he had abandoned and denied his Lord. He was devastated, feeling a complete failure and disgrace. That wasn't the first night that Peter had spent on the Sea of Galilee. After all, he was a fisherman. He, like others, worked at night. He knew that the fish would feed near the surface during the cool of the night and return to the deep during the day. No, this certainly wasn't the first night Peter had spent on the Sea of Galilee, nor was it the first night that he had caught nothing. As he thought back, there was that time a little over 3 years ago before. And as he thought about it, he recalled that most mornings he and his partners would sell their fish, repair their nets, and head home to rest with a bag full of money and the feeling of satisfaction. But this particular morning, there was no money. There was no satisfaction. They had worked all through the night, but had nothing to show for it, except for weary backs and worn-out nets. And what's worse, everyone knew it. Every morning the shore would become a market as villagers came to buy their fish, but that day, there were no fish. Jesus was there that morning teaching, and as people pressed upon Jesus, there was little room for him to stand, so he asked us if his boat could be the platform. Peter agreed, thinking that the boat might as well be put to good use. Peter listens as Jesus teaches. It's good to hear something other than the slapping of the waves. When Jesus finishes with the crowd, he turns to Peter. He has another request. He wants to go fishing. This is found in Luke chapter 5, verse 4, and it tells us, when he had finished speaking, he said to Simon, "Now go out to where it is deep and let down your nets to catch some fish." Peter groans at this request. The last thing he wants to do is fish. The boat is clean, the nets are ready to dry, the sun is up, and he is tired. It's time to go home. Besides, everyone is already watching. They've already seen him come back empty-handed once. And what's more, what does Jesus know about fishing? He is just a preacher. So Peter speaks in Luke chapter 5, verse 5. "Master," Simon replied, "we worked hard all last night and didn't catch a thing. But if you say so, I'll let the nets down again." Do you hear the weariness in Peter's words? We worked hard, scraping the hull, carrying the nets, pulling the oars, throwing the nets high into the moonlit sky, listening to them as they slap on the surface of the water. All night. The sky had gone from burnt orange to midnight black to the morning gold. The hours had passed slowly as a fleet of clouds before the moon. The fishermen's conversation had stilled, and their shoulders ached, and the village slept. The men worked all night, all night long, trying to catch fish. The night's events had been rhythmic. Nets swung and tossed high till they spread itself into the sky. Then wait, let it sink. Pull it in, do it again. Throw, pull, throw, pull, throw, pull. Every toss had been a prayer, but every drag of the empty net had come back unanswered. Even the nets sighed as the men pulled them out and prepared to throw it again. For 12 hours they had fished, and now Jesus wants them to fish some more, and not just off the shore, but into the deep. Peter sees his friends shrug their shoulders. He looks at the people on the beach watching him. He doesn't know what to do. Jesus may know a lot about a lot, but Peter knows about his fishing. Peter knows when to work and when to quit. He knows that there is a time to go on and a time to get out. Common sense said that this was a time to get out. Logic says to cut your losses and go home. Experience said pack it up and get some rest. But Jesus said, we can try again if you want. The most difficult journey that you'll have in life is when you have to go back to the place where you failed. Jesus knows that. That is why he volunteers to go along. He must have thought the first outing was solo. This time I'll be with you. Try it again, this time with me on board. And Peter reluctantly agrees to try again. But if you say so, I will let my nets down again. It didn't make any sense, but he had been around the Nazarene enough to know that his presence made a difference. He thought about the wedding at Cana and about the sick child of the royal ruler. It's as if Jesus had carried his own deck to the table. So the oars dipped again, and the boat goes out. The anchor is set, and the nets fly once more. Peter watches as the nets sink, and then he waits. He waits until the nets spread as far as his ropes will allow. The fishermen are quiet. Peter is quiet. Jesus is quiet. Suddenly, the ropes yank. The net, heavy with fish, almost pulled Peter overboard. "John, James," he yells, "come quickly!" Soon the boats are so full of fish that the port side rim dips closely to the surface. Peter, ankle deep in flopping silver, turns to look at Jesus, only to find that Jesus is looking at him. Those same piercing eyes, laying bare his soul. That first time on the boat, he begins to realize who Jesus is. What an odd place to meet God, on a fishing boat on a small sea in a remote country. But such is the practice of God who comes into our world. Such is the encounter experienced by those who are willing to try again with Him. Peter's life was never the same after that catch. And as we jump back again in our story to the current day in last week's story, we find Peter contemplating the past 3 years, sitting in his boat with nothing to show for a night of fishing. Next week we'll finish our saga with Peter with another boat full of fish and with his restoration to the one who he had followed since this first encounter. And that's a wrap for today's meditation. Next week we will continue our trek on Meditation Monday as we take time to reflect on what is most important in creating our living legacy. On tomorrow's trek we will explore another wisdom quote. This 3-minute wisdom supplement will assist you on becoming healthy, wealthy, and wise each day. And thank you for joining me for this trek that we call life. Encourage your friends and family to join us and to come along with us tomorrow for another day of Wisdom Trek, creating a legacy. If you'd like to listen to any of the past 1,253 daily treks or read the daily journals, they are all available at wisdom-trek.com. And I encourage you to subscribe to Wisdom Trek on your favorite podcast player so that each day will be downloaded to you automatically. And thank you so much for allowing me to be your guide, your mentor, but most importantly, I am your friend as I serve you through the Wisdom Trek podcast and journal each day. And as we take this trek of life, together let us always live abundantly, love unconditionally, listen intentionally, learn continuously, lend to others generously, lead with integrity, and then leave a living legacy each day. I am Guthrie Chamberlain, reminding you to keep moving forward. Enjoy your journey, and then create a great day every day. See you tomorrow.